What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall market. Talk about some very important levels to watch for and how the charts look, in my personal opinion. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Webull link. If you deposit any amount of money, you're guaranteed 12 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 in total. And deposit $25,000 or more, and you're guaranteed 75. The offer ends in just 10 days. Anyways, now let's talk about the charts and the market. So far, the market's getting a bit of a sell-off after we saw so much, bullish price action last week. We're starting to see some sellers coming in. And Tesla's also looking a little bit weak right here. We got some negative news involving Ford, not to mention others out there who are giving different ratings for Tesla. But I went over the news in my morning video. I want to focus more on the charts from this point on. So what's going on so far? So as you guys know, we have the bill auctions coming out at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And besides that, we just have Cash Card giving a speech for the broader markets. So that's all that's really affecting the markets for the time being, nothing too crazy. As far as Tesla goes, the main catalyst is going to be their earnings, but for the time being, Tesla is still kind of rejecting off this resistance. So we came very close to our 20 EMA, which happens to be just under 222. Then we saw Tesla reject so far. Tesla's trying to hold the 217 area as our main support. If it does not hold, I could see us dip very close to this 215 area, which is where the support happens to be. If that fails us, I think we dip all the way down closer to 210. So it's going to be even more bearish for Tesla. Now, right now, I wouldn't say that Tesla's necessarily crashing or pumping or doing anything like that. I would say we're more just like range bound for now. And I think Tesla's going to maintain the range of the day. So the range of the day is right here. Let me just show you what this looks like. If you look at the 5-minute time frame, this is all Tesla's doing. It's going back and forth between these levels. I think that's what Tesla's going to continue to do. But as you guys can see, there's a little bit of weakness here. We got a little pump and dump. And so far, Tesla's been downtrending, may continue to dip a little bit more. But so far, we have a range to be watching for, and we do look a little bit more bearish. So anticipate more downside. I think Tesla may slowly continue to fall. But just know we'll be watching this 217 area to see how well Tesla could hold right here. And if it does not hold this, there's going to be a risk of us potentially testing the lows of the day closer to that 215 area. All right. So I just want to give you guys a heads up about that. That's pivotal for Tesla. So we look a little bit more bearish. Tesla is still in our range so far, but there is a risk of downside. How about for SPY? SPY is showing some weakness. So the first thing worth mentioning is that we have a head and shoulders. We have a left shoulder here. We have a head up here. Then we have a right shoulder up here. Now, we have 582 as our resistance, our 20 EMA. If we don't reclaim that, there's a risk of this dipping all the way down closer to about this. We could be seeing the 579 area. This is where this chop zone happened to be. It's about 578, close to the 50 EMA. So 578 to 579 could be tested very soon if we continue this trend. I gave everyone a warning in my morning video. I said that the market may pump upon open, but be careful because as the day goes on, we might see an attempt to get back to our 20 EMA at 582. And if that failed us, we're looking for 580. So that's exactly what happened so far. So we called out this move, and there is a risk of us dipping even lower now. If we don't hold 580, just know we have this imbalance all the way down here as well. So I'd be looking for basically that 578 zone. And then if that ends up failing us, we're looking for 575 as our next target. SPY is looking a little bit weaker here. I do believe that some buyers are trying to defend the 580 area, but it still looks weak nonetheless. So we'll see how well it does. For Nvidia, we pushed very nicely to that 140 area, but be careful with Nvidia because, like I said before, we have this very, very important resistance in this 140 zone. This is where NVIDIA's high happened to be before, which shows anything above 140 is a tough resistance. So is it possible for NVIDIA to push higher? Yes, it could try to push higher, but just know resistance is going to get tougher the higher we go. If we hold above 140 for another 4 hours, I think 142 becomes possible. But just knowing that 140 to 142 area is going to be a tough resistance. So even if we push a little bit, we could still reject later on. Just keep that in mind, guys. I just want to call that out. Excuse me. For Bitcoin, we had a bearish divergence. We're looking at support now at 66,936. If we hold this, this could rebound for that 67,500 area. And if we lose 66,936, we're looking for a dip back down to this imbalance, down to 66,000. So watch to see which way we go. But for now, we do look a little bit more bearish. For others out there, we also have ES. ES has a head and shoulders like structure as well. We're looking for 58.68 as our main support. If that fails us, we're looking for this imbalance below all the way down towards 58.50. We also have this resistance at 58.80, but this is still looking a little bit more bearish. There is a risk of it coming back down towards where this imbalance happens to be. So just be careful as ES continues to dip. So there is a risk of downside, but just be very, very careful, and we'll give this the time it needs. For others out there, we have NQ. NQ is losing its 50 EMA at 20,390. If we reclaim that, we could turn back up. Otherwise, it's a risk of dipping. And this could actually dip closer to 20,280 than 20,200 below that if those levels end up failing. For the QQQ, this is making lower highs right now. Also notice that we had this little wick right here. If you're bullish, you want to see it reclaim 494. And if not, we're looking for basically 490.5 as our main support. If 490.5 fails us, we're looking for a bigger tip on the QQQ. So I think we could get closer to the 490 area. 492 ends up failing us. So there is a risk of some downside. Just be careful. With NVIDIA holding up really well so far, that's what's helping the NASDAQ and the QQQ hold up a little bit better. But there is still that risk of some downside. So just keep that in mind. For Apple, we start off with a nice push, but we still have this gap below to fill. And I just want to call out the fact that we're making lower highs here. So if we hold above 235, we could attempt to consolidate. If we lose 235, we're at risk of coming down to fill this gap. Just keep that in mind. For others out there, we also have let me just double check this, the IWM. We lost 124, so our next support was 122. And if that fails us, I could see this step all the way down to about the 220 area. I'm sorry, it was 224, then 222. So 220 is going to be our next target on the IWM. If that fails us, this imbalance could take us even lower. So look for a little bit more downside. It's very weak right now. Amazon has a rejection right here. We're looking for 187 as our target, maybe a little bit lower. Meta came down to the 570 area exactly as we predicted. We called out 570. If that doesn't hold us, we could go all the way down to about 568, then 564. Microsoft looks more bearish. 414 has come. Google's also rejecting off 165. Look for a dip back down to 163 if we don't reclaim 165. So the market's slowing down right now. As far as Tesla goes, we look a little bit more bearish, a little bit lackluster because of some negative news that came out. I went over that in the morning. So just keep that in mind, guys. This is your update for the day. And I'll be back in a couple of hours to give you guys another update as well moving forward. So I just want to thank you all so much for listening. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. For those who are trading out there, just know the market's already dipped quite a bit. So be careful with those entries. You don't want to be like entering when it's already dipping quite a bit. You want to be entering. You want it to be entering when it was like pumping and showing signs of the rejection. That was the more ideal time to be entering. So just be careful. It's already down quite a bit. So just be mindful of that. And if you're trading, just be careful with that as well. All right. So, anyways, we'll see how things go for Tesla. It does have a risk of more downside, but just know that there's still a range to watch for it, and we'll see how things end up going. All right. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day and peace out.